We're doing Daf Tes Amud Aleph today, and it's connected a bit to the page before. I think that we can say that basically we have on the Daf Tes Amud Beis we had this discussion whether one can carry underneath the kaira. We had two opinions, whether one is permitted to carry underneath the kaira, the area of the kaira or not. Rabbi Yochanan was one of the three rabbanim that says you are permitted to carry underneath the kaira, and Schtroks was one of the three who said that you're not permitted to carry underneath the kaira. Then we also had a din of Rava. Rava the question was it's another thing which is discussed at the end of Daf Tes Amud Beis is how close does the kaira have to be to the mobile? In other words, if can the kaira be a little bit in front of the mobile, or how close does the kaira have to be to the mobile? That was the discussion at the end of Daf Tes Amud Beis, and Rava over there in the discussion he said that the kaira has to be mamish on top of the mobile. You cannot have the kaira to be a bit in front of the mobile. It has to be on top of the mobile itself. That's the furthest out the kaira can be. And then we had this we had this question from a Bryce. So let me just get back again to the last point on Daf Tes Amud Beis. That was what happens if I put some maybe some nails or pegs or an L-shaped device, and I fix I fix the kaira that I screw in let's say an L-shaped or hook into the front of the walls of the mavui, in the front, and I put there the kaira right next to the mavui. And as you step out the mavui, right on top of you is the kaira. So that Rava, he said, Rabbi said that that's no good because the kaira has to be on top of the mobile. And we had a kasha on this opinion of Rabbi. We had a kasha from this Bryce, and this Bryce starts off, which is the beginning of Tes Amud Aleph. It says, what happens if the kaira is meshucha or tluya? So originally the Gemara thought that meshucha means that the kaira is right in front of the mavui, like the example which I just gave, or very similar to that. So, but then and therefore the Gemara had the question that it seems that meshucha, which meant if it's in front of the mavui, it's also kosher if the kaira is in front of the mavui. So the Gemara says no. That meshucha also means it's on top of the mobile. So to answer, we go back and we agree with the Rabbi that this whole brisa must be talking about that the kaira is on top of the mobile. Now, so what does meshucha atluya mean? So we said that meshucha atluya basically means that it's not touching the walls of the mavui. If I look in my Rashi, I don't know what Gemaras you have. In my Rashi, I see a picture, the top picture in the Rashi, that you see a kaira which is being supported by a beam underneath the kaira, but the edges of the kaira do not touch the walls of the mavoi. But of course, they're not. It's not going even 1 millimeter further than the mavoi itself. It's within the walls of the mavoi, but it's not touching the walls of the mavoi. And basically, what the halacha is telling us that we can say lavud, and it's as if it's connected to the mavoi. And so that, and meshucha atluya means that meshucha means it's connected to one wall and not the other. So we say lavud to the part of the wall it's not connected. And metluya means even if it's not if it's in both sides not connected, we say lavud on both sides, and which is a chiddush. The chiddush being that we could say twice lavud, both on one side and on the other side. We could say lavud. Okay. Just very important to mention is that this concept of lavud, on how much area do we say lavud? So we had two opinions, which the general common opinion is 3 tvachim. If it's within 3 tvachim, we say lavud. We also had the opinion of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, which would come again in our Gemara, that the limit for lavud is 4 tvachim, not 3 tvachim. Okay. But what we are on for in the Gemara is Rav Ashi giving a slightly different translation for the word meshucha atluya. So whatever we said, what meshucha atluya, Rav Ashi says meshucha atluya is not 2 cases, it's not 2 scenarios. One is meshucha, one tluya, but meshucha atluya is 1 case. It's called meshucha and tluya. So Rav Ashi Omar, this is where we're on for. That's Naftes Samad Aleph. It's a few lines down. Rashi Omar Meshucha v'hitluya. When it says Meshucha atluya, actually it says the word oy. I just realized it says oy. No. So I guess maybe he makes a slight change in the words of the brisa or something. So he says Meshucha v'hitluya. Meaning that it's meaning that both that the kaira. Now I have a second picture in Rashi, and unfortunately in my Gemara, which I'm looking at, the second picture, I don't know what Gemaras you have. The second picture in Rashi is not very helpful because the picture there is like it's 2-dimensional. You're making it doesn't make the picture in a 3-dimensional way, and therefore it can be misinterpreted. So meshucha and tluya. So Rashi meshucha v'hitluya. The heichidomi. What is that? What does that say inside? And then we'll translate it. Heichidomi kigon shenoatz shtei yisedes akumos al shnei kois lahamavui. Okay, so there is the walls of the mavui. Now, so ordinarily you would have the kaira resting on the walls of the mavui. Here, what he did was that he put pegs on the mavui, and the kaira is not resting directly on the mavui, but the kaira is resting on the pegs. So let's imagine we have the walls of the mavui, and instead of placing the kaira directly on top of the walls, you stick a peg into the wall, and which is, let's say, 2 tvachim or something less than 3 tvachim, and on the other side, and you put the kaira onto that peg. So you have that gap between the kaira and the mavi of 2 or 3 tvachim. But not only that, if he put the pegs in straight, if he has a short kaira, his kaira is not enough. It won't. His kaira is a bit short, and it can't reach both walls. So what he does is he puts in the pegs in a bit crooked. So when he knocks the pegs in, he knocks them in at an angle, not to be straight into the wall. He knocks them in at an angle. When he knocks them into an angle, so the top of the peg is facing more inwards into the mavoi. So now when he places the kaira on top of the yisedes, it can rest because the kaira is less than the width of the mavoi. So he needs to have he needs to gain some. He needs the rest to somehow he needs to narrow the where he's putting the Quran on, because it's not long enough. So so not only is the Quran in this instance above the actual walls of the Mabui, it's also, even if it would be at the same height, the correct height, it still will not be able to touch, because it's inner. So the question is, do we say lavud in such a case? And that's what the chiddush of the mission is. The chiddush, that's what meshucha utluya. So v'hitluya. So the meshucha v'hitluya, even in such a case, as long as these pegs are less than 3 tvachim, we will say lavud, and we will say lavud. And in fact, what was this lavud, usually the term lavud is used for stretching something. So if we stretch something, we say lavud. Here, we're not just stretching it, because on the one hand, we're using the lavud and we say, this kaira is touching the walls of the mavoi. So we're stretching the kaira. Also, what we're doing is we're saying, the kaira is as if it's lower down. So we're really doing two concepts. Again, lavud is the stretching, so you're making the kaira longer, as if it's touching the walls of the mavui. And also, we are sort of saying, but it has to be on top of the walls. Okay, we're lowering it down as if it's lower down. So we're doing two things in alpi halacha, as which in the physical it's not there. So it's a ma'uda tema. So that's the chiddush. Sorry, I'll start again. He put in two pegs at a slant on the two walls of the mavui, which are not tall 3. The imbak mumusam gimel, and when even on the slant, it's not 3 tvachim. So the slant is not more than 3 tvachim. So so what's the chiddush? The chiddush is either we say lavud, we can stretch it out longer. How many principles of, when in the reality it's not like that, then we say, okay, it doesn't matter. We look at it as if it's been stretched. We look, how many of these klolim can you add? So here the chiddush is, I would say, we say lavud, or we lower it, of a lavud v'chavait, to combine and say two halachas, lavud to stretch it, and to say chavait le'amrin, we don't say kamash v'lon, that we do say, yes, and of course this is something which we discussed before, that we're saying lavud on both sides, so we're saying a double lavud and a chavait. So that's what's happening. So that's the chiddush. Okay, so that's the way Rav Ashi interprets the brisa. The cholofen. So we remain with that you cannot have the kaira in front of the mob. The kaira has to be on top. Okay, very close. We can make a bit of lavud, but it always has, never, if it sticks out into the Rosh Hashanah a bit more than the mavui, then we cannot. It's that does not count as a kaira. Anything which sticks out does not count. Okay. Tony, now we're going back to the subject which was a bit earlier in Daf Chesed Beis. That is, can you carry underneath the kaira? And Rabbi Yochanan, he was of the opinion, here with another two rabbanim, were of the opinion that one is permitted to carry underneath the kaira. What about the lechi? Can you carry the space which a lechi takes up? So let's say we have a lechi which is, let's say, 1 tefach wide. If we make one, we can make a small one, we can make an narrow one. A lechi doesn't have to be, the kaira has a minimum of a tefach. The lechi has no minimum. So can we carry, so let's say the lechi is a tefach, 2 tefach, let's say. So can we carry in that area where the lechi is? So be in Daf Chesed Beis, we learned Reb Chizda said, no, you can't. He says, even those who say you can carry underneath the kaira, underneath the lechi you cannot carry. That was the opinion of Reb Chizda. And the reason, which Tosfos says, what's the reason for that? The reason is because lechi, there's no size to a lechi. So therefore, if we'll permit you to carry in the area where the lechi is, when you have a lechi of 2 tvachim, when you'll make a lechi of 2 millimeters, So then you'll also want to carry that because you're used to carrying in the space where the lechi is, and you'll end up carrying in the Rishus Harabim or outside the lechi. And so because of that, since you'll end up carrying outside lechi, therefore you're not permitted to carry even if you have a wider lechi where where you wouldn't worry about it so much. So it's a general rule for lechi you can't carry. And here we're going to have an argument about this: can we carry in the area of the lechi or not? I think we're going to hand out. It's going to be yeah. Okay. Tani Reb Zakkai Kemei Reb Yechon. So Reb Zakkai, he was learning, saying the price or something in front of Rabbi Yechanan, and he's saying bein lechayayim v'tachas hakayra nidin kekamelos. So he said that with the space where the lechi is, or underneath the kayra, it has a din of a carmelis, and you're not permitted to carry that. So he said you're not permitted to carry on the kayra, and also you're not permitted to carry in the area which corresponds to where which is opposite the lechi. You cannot carry in that area. Omar Leis, or Rabbi Yochanan says to him, "Puk Tani Lebra, go say it out. You're learning this. If you're these halachas, if you're saying this halacha, say it outside. In this medrash, I'm not going to let you say these halachas because Rabbi Yochanan was of the opinion that you're permitted to carry on. As you mentioned before, he was one of those rabbanim who said you're permitted to carry underneath the kohen. So he wouldn't allow him. Okay. It seems, I suppose. So Amar Abai says, "Mistabra milsa der beichen tachas hakoyr, avbein lechayayin also." So Abai says that that the reason why he threw him out, told him to go somewhere else, is because of the beam. Because tachas hakoyr, Rabbi Yochanan said, it says you're permitted to carry, like you mentioned before. Avbein lechayayin also, but the place of the lechi is also. Like we spoke already. That was Rav Chiz's opinion on the other side, on the other page. So Ben Chaim says also. The Rabbi says Ben Chaim Namimut. Is the Rabbi says that the place of the lechi is also you're permitted to carry. So you're permitted to carry. You have a lechi of the 2 tvachim, let's say 1.5 tvachim, whatever it is. You can carry in that area. That's what Rabbi passes. Now, I just want to remind everybody that there is the concept of, concerning carrying a Shabbos, there are 3 rishuyas, there's 3 levels. There's Rishus Yochid and Rabbi, which are dinim deraisa basically. That's there's one is called the Rishus Yochid, which has its own dinim, and then there's the Rishus Rabbi, which has its dinim. This is the Omer deraisa. Then there's a Carmelis. A Carmelis is a Rishus Derabanan. In other words, mideraisa, a Carmelis would be like a Mokum Ptur, but so the Karmas is midrabanan. So then you have a mokim ptur, which means that even midrabanan, you're allowed to carry that. You're allowed to carry from Rosh Hashanah into the mokim ptur. You're allowed to carry from Rosh Hashanah into a mokim ptur. A mokim ptur, that area of a mokim ptur is one is permitted to carry that. Now, right. So there's only 4 classes of areas concerning carrying, and one of them is the Shiyach Shrabim and Kamas and Mokim Torah. So now the Rabbi is going to use that to explain his decision of why you're permitted to carry in the place of Lech. So Amar Rabbi, Rabbi says, where did I say this? Where did I take it? That one is permitted to carry in the space of where the Lechi is. He says this. A place which doesn't have dal. So a place which dal tfachim. Dal means if it's less than 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim. If it's less than 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim, it may even be quite long actually. But if there's no 4 tfachim in the depth, let's say it's 10 tfachim long. The depth is only 3 tfachim. The kids are any place which doesn't have 4, the minimum of 4 in each direction, the minimum of 4 in each direction. Mutter livnei so they can both put their stuff in it. So let's say I'm in Rishus Yochid, I want to put some of the stuff to put it on that area. I can put it on, and the people from the Rabim, they're carrying something, and they want to put it out. They're allowed to put it down Shabbos. As long as they don't change, they don't take it from the Mokim Torah, take it back. They shouldn't carry it put it onto the Mokim Torah, and from the Mokim Torah to take it into the Rishus Yachid. They shouldn't do that. Why? Because if they take it from the Mokim Torah into Rishus Yachid, so then it will lead to people carrying from the Rishus Rabbim into Rishus Yachid without resting on the Mokim Torah. Because if you rest on the Mokim Torah, be'emes, if you pick something up on Rishus Rabbim, put it on the Mokim Torah, so you're potter. Then you take from the Mokim Torah, you pick it up from the Mokim Torah, you put it in Rishus Yachid, so you're potter. Because every carrying has to have a kira of a hanocha. You pick it up and you put it down. So if the hanocha or the hakira is in the Mokim Torah, so you're potter. But if you permit that the person from Rishus Rabbim will put it on the Mokim Torah, then the person from Rishus Yachid will take it from the Mokim Torah, put it in Rishus Yachid. So each one has done nothing, fine. But you'll end up people carrying from the Rishus Rabbim into Rishus Yachid. That would cause. So therefore, but the bottom line is, which is relevant to us, is that to put it from the Rishus Yachid onto the Mokim Torah, you're permitted. And to move things from one place in the Mokim Torah to another place in the Mokim Torah again, you're permitted. So what's the argument? So the argument is that anything less than dalad al dalad is a Mokim Torah. So how can you become osir? The place where the lechi is, so the place opposite the lechi. So inside the lechi is a Rishus Yachid. Outside the lechi is either a Carmelist or a Rishus Rabbim. Outside the lechi. So what is it lechi? So if you say you're not allowed to carry, the area of the lechi is less than dalad al dalad, because the lechi is less than 4 tefachim. So since the area of the lechi is less than dalad al dalad, it cannot become. It's a Mokim Torah. So the area of the lechi is a Mokim Torah. It's less than dalad al dalad, because the lechi is a narrow lechi. It's not more than 4 tefachim wide. So that's the argument of Rabbi of why, if you have a lechi which is going to be wider than 4 tefachim, maybe Rabbi will agree. But if the normal lechi, which is less than dalad al dalad, which is less than 4 tefachim, so the area of the lechi is less than dalad, it's a Mokim Torah. So why can't you carry that underneath it? You can carry underneath. But Abai says no, that we can have an isur even on less than dalad. Hosam begavoya gimel, when the place is a distinct place, it's a Mokim Torah. If a distinct place, which is a distinct area, it's 3 tefachim higher than the ground, the rest of the ground. So it's recognizable. So it's a recognizable place, by being at least 3 tefachim higher than the rest of the ground. So then we have the din of that if it's less than 4 tefachim, it's a Mokim Torah. And even the Chachamim who made the gzeira of a Carmelist, they don't make the gzeira over here from carrying. But the lechi is placed on a regular, is placed on a mavui. The floor there is regular, level. Since it's a level floor, regular, so the Chachamim will geyser even on the area of the lechi, even though it's less than dalad. They said you shouldn't carry. When the Chachamim limited the gzeira, they said if it's less than dalad, we don't make the gzeira. That's only if it's a distinct place by being higher than the rest of the ground. Okay. Right. That's why he says the Isser applies. Yeah. And Amar Abai says, "Mino aminallah." What's where I take it from? The Amar Abchon Baguria Amar Rav Toicha Pesach Tzorich Lecha Achak Bacteria. That if Toicha Pesach means when you have the doors of the entrance of the Movi. Now, usually till now we're speaking about a Movi which which has the walls. But what happens if there is if some in the front of the mobile there is walls? If there's there's some side, some posts or something. There is some type of wall on the front of the mobile. There's a bit of a wall coming out from both sides. So we have the entrance, but there is we have the entrance, but the entrance has there's the walls which I lost the words how to say it, but there are, let's say, doorposts over there or something similar by the entrance of the mob. So if let's say the doorpost by the entrance of the mob, and so Toich Pesach, so the emes, those doorposts themselves, they are a lechi. They are a lechi because you have two lechis. You have two lechis. So to carry in that area of Toich Pesach. Now the Toich Pesach, if it's made of brick walls or whatever it is, so it might be quite substantial. So in the area of Pesach, you if you want to carry in that area of where you have these doorposts, these nice thick doorposts, so there you need another lechi to permit you to carry it at the end of the Pesach. So Toich Pesach tzorich lecha achlateri. So what do we see? The Pesach itself is a lechi. You have two lechis there. In the Pesach, you have actually two lechis usually. So you have two lechis. So why can't you carry that? So you see, you're not allowed to carry in the area of the lechi. So yeah, the isbedal maybe you'll say to me, no, it's no raya, because there we're talking about a larger area. A larger area, dal the more the Chachamim were, because let's remember what was Rabbi's argument. Rabbi's argument was that there's unless an area of less than dal, the Chachamim would never didn't answer you, because that's called mokim p'tur. It's less than dal, it's mokim p'tur. The Chachamim don't answer such an area. So maybe you'll say to me that this doorpost of Reb Chom Baguria, where he said you have to have another lechi to permit to carry it. So that's talking about if the doorposts are very thick, they're made of brick, and there's more than 4 tefachim thickness to these posts. So if it's more than 4 tefachim thickness, that's why you need the lechi, because there's an area of dalat. Therefore, it's not a mokum p'tur. So no, but Omer Rab Chonim Bar Choma, but Omer Rab Chonim Bar Rava, Omer Rab Teicha Pesach Av B'Sheim B'Dalat. Even if it's not so thick, the Pesach is not so thick, it's less than 4 tefachim, you still need the lechi achalatir. So therefore, you see that the place where the lechi is, because the Pesach itself is really a lechi, and in the lechi to carry that, you need another lechi to be makir. You have to have another lechi at the end to make a pivot to carry. So Rava says, what's the question of Rava? We see that even Toich Pesach you need another lechi lahatire, even though it's less than 4 tefachim. Yeah, so you can see there's a mokim which is osur. It's a mokim which is less than 4 tefachim, and it's still osur, and not like Rava argued that anything less than 4 tefachim is a mokim b'tur. So he says, hosam te besuch lekarmelis. Hosam besuch lekarmelis. That when it's open to a karmelis, that's something else. If it's rishus harabim, then you take permitted to carry because it's a mokim b'tur. If it's open to a karmelis, then it's also to carry. What is a karmelis? A karmelis means it's a place where midaraisa you are permitted to carry, but the rabbanon were geyser and they're not permitted to carry that. That's a karmelis. The karmelis is the chachamim said you're not allowed to carry. So if it's open to a karmelis, then you can't carry under the lechi. But so the Gemara says, 1 second. Are you trying to say to me, aval rishus harabim my shori? Are you trying to tell me that if it's open to Rabbi, you are permitted to carry? So is Rava trying to tell me? Rava said that you're not allowed to carry in the place of the area of the area of the lechi. And now Rava comes up and tells us if the mavi is leading to a karmelis, then you're not allowed to carry in the place where the lechi is, in the area of the lechi. But when it's open to a shusarabim, you are permitted. Shusarabim is 10 times is 10 times stricter. You say we're spoken to Sham Yak. My shari Yitziva ba'Arabic Yura b'Shemaya. Yitziva means a toishav, the resident. The resident is down on the earth. You put him all the way down. The resident you put it, and the ger, the stranger, the immigrant, yeah, him you're going to raise to the heavens. Him you make a big. It's like total opposite of logic. The Rosh Hashanah is much stricter. So how can you say that the din of lechi is more lenient if it's open to Rosh Hashanah than it's open to karmas? Again, to repeat that if it's open to Rosh Hashanah, then according to Rabbi, you're permitted to carry in the place of the lechi. If it's open to karmas, it's not permitted to carry in the place of the karmas. So the Gemara says, what's the big deal? Ein motza mine v'neir. Yeah, because here, what is the isur? The isur, if the isur of carrying in the place of the lechi, if you say it's also to carry in the place of lechi, that means you're giving a din of a karmelis. It's an isur midrabanan. So if you say it's also to carry in the place where the lechi is, so you're giving a din of a karmelis, which is a midrabanan. No, a karmelis cannot be less than 4 tvachim. So therefore, if it's next to Rosh Hashanah, so therefore there cannot be a karmelis less than 4 tvachim. Less than 4 tvachim is a mokum tur, and therefore you're allowed to carry that. And whereas if it's next to a karmelis, so then the area becomes one area with the outside. The outside is a karmelis. This is a karmelis. No, it's more than 12. It's called 4 tvachim. That's my understanding of it. So ein motza minas mina b'neir. If it meets the same type, so then it becomes a karmelis. Yes, it's a place of the lechi. But since it's just an addition and meets up with the karmelis, so it becomes just an extension of the karmelis. So if it's an extension of the karmelis, it's not its own rishus. Therefore, then you can have you say it's not permitted to carry over there. Okay, fine. That's that. So that so he said to him, also, you don't agree that it's also to carry the place of the lechi. We just had before. Rabbi said the place of the lechi is you're permitted to carry. So what's his answer? His question is going to be, well, they said, okay. They said the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Mavui, which next to the entrance of the Mavui, so he put many lechis, not one lechi, put many lechis, but not on the whole area. It's, let's say, for 2 or 3 amas, not more. Yeah, not for. So he put a few lechis, one after the other. Shirotz for lechim, the poches midala, and each lechi is so he puts a few sticks there, and each lechi is less than 4 tvachim from the other one. So bono lemachleikas Reb Shimon Gamliel Rabbanon. So it's told lemachleikas Reb Shimon Gamliel Rabbanon. What's all this about? So this is the words of Rabbi Yechanan. Yeah. So what is all this about? What does it mean? So it's like this. We had before in the beginning of the page, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said we say lovud by 4 tvachim. So what did he do over here? He took sticks. Let's say over a distance of 3 amas. Let's say maximum. No, let's not go more than that. So distance of 3 amas. He put a few sticks there, and between each stick is less than 4 amas. Is less than 4 tvachim, but more than 3 tvachim. So it's less than 4 tvachim, but more than 3 tvachim. Do we say lovud between these sticks? Now that depends on the machlokes, which we had in the beginning of the page. Do we say according to Shimon Gamliel, lovud is by 4, and according to the Chachamim, lovud is by 3? So according to Chachamim, you do not say lovud over here, and according to Shimon Gamliel, you do say lovud. Right? So according to Shimon Gamliel, you do say lovud. So therefore, it comes out like this. So it works like this. The Shimon Gamliel, the Omar Amrino lovud, that we say lovud, mishtamish ad chudi apnimi shalechi apnimi. So then, since you're not allowed to carry where the place of the lechi, so you can only use till the inner edge of the most inner lechi, where you put the first stick, the most inner stick that you put, that is where the limit of carrying. Because once you have that stick, and then you have the other sticks, and it's all lovud, so it's all one stick. If it's all one stick, it's all the place of the lechi. So it's a lechi of 3 amas. That's the scenario which we gave. It's 3 amas. It's a lechi of 3 amas. So you can't carry in those 3 amas. So you can only lechi in the edge of the inner edge of the inner stick. That's according to Shimon Gamliel, because he says lovud. It's all one big lechi. The Rabbanon, you can carry the Amri Le Amri No lovud. They don't say lovud because it's more than 3. So you can go all the way to the edge of the last stick, which is closest to the street, and to the inner edge of the last stick, till the last lechi, till the last stick, which is not the space of the last stick itself, but the inner edge of the last stick. Till there you can carry. The Kitzur Advar. So you see this is what in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. He said that you have such this scenario of lechis, of a number of lechis, you can't have a Shimon Gamliel Gabar. So what do you see very clearly from it? You see very clearly that you're not permitted to carry the place of lech. So how come you, Rabbi, say you're permitted to carry the place of lech? So the Kitzur Advar, you see that where the lechi itself is, if you have a big lechi or a small lechi, the place of the lechi is us. So Rabbi says it comes back to the teretz we just had just. But Rabbi Hasanami, the Basuach Lakamlis says, yes, but I agree. If it's not the Rishus Rabbi on the outside, just the Kamlis, I agree you're not permitted to carry underneath the lechi because it all becomes one large area with the rest of the Karmelis. Therefore, but if it's just this, but the Aval Rishus Rabbi, if it's on Rishus Rabbi, sorry, I tune is a bit wrong because it's the same question as the style of the Gemara before. Hachanam the Basuch Lakamlis, it's open to Kamlis. So the Gemara says, what are you trying to say? Aval Rishus Rabbi, my sorry. What is Rishus Rabbi? Then you are allowed to carry. If the outside Rishus Rabbi is more strict, you say you're allowed to carry. Yitzil ba'arav v'girib neshmaya. The yatziva is the tosha. The person who's the resident is low down, and the ger is picked the heavens. So Gemara says yes. Like the explanation which we gave before, that since it's karmas on the outside, no, so they have a large area of karmas. That's fine, as long as you have a large area. It's not less than dollar. Fine, you can make it an area which is awesome. But if it's a Rishus Rabim, so then inside Rishus Yochid, outside Rishus Rabim, then you have a small area. That small area can't be only a Makom Torah. It's less than dollar.